gamers. Today we have finally got the Castle Rush guide for OO to the T to the D. We're doing a Castle Rush guide, and I'm going to try to explain what you kind of want to do in every matchup. Some matchups you'll have to make units, some matchups you can skip units, some matchups you want to skip units. So, the general rule of thumb is if the enemy is castle rushing Civ as well, you want to castle rush as fast as possible, which means no farms, probably no units, if you can get to castle before them. So if you're playing against like Japanese, let's say, and they make no units, you want to straight castle rush, no units, just skip everything, even maybe a tower unless you see a production building. If you're playing against aggressive civs, you're going to have to make at least a tower, and against some aggressive civs, you're going to have to make units too sometimes. Now, if you're playing against 2TC, against a 2TC civ like Abbasid or China, straight to castle rush. So, here we go. So I'm going to show you 3 different games. One game is against French, one game is against English, and one game is against AOE4, which is one of the better castle rush civs. I'm going to also show you different variations and different openers with OTD castle rushing that, you know, I'm just going to say it, that I have developed a little bit, and I'll explain the thought process behind it. So, I'm playing against French. What does that mean? To me, that means, okay, I probably cannot go naked castle rush, which means no units. I'm probably going to need to make a unit or two. Sometimes when the opponent is pressuring you, they kind of force you into like longer feudal, and then your castle rush is not quite as fast, but then you run out of food. So what do I like doing in those situations? When I play against aggressive civs, if they're going to be poking a little bit, but they're probably not going to kill me, mainly against knight civs, I like opening with farms, triple farm. In a normal game, if I play this against French or JD, I would open with triple farm. You chop 1 tree down and you plant 3 farms. And then you continue your build as normal. But whenever you're playing Order of the Dragon, listen up, this is very important. Whenever you're playing Order of the Dragon, and the first thing you do is you start scouting and you see a deer pack, immediately go to the deer pack. Immediately. The only civs that I would recommend not doing this against is going to be against English, because maybe they go man-at-arm opener, but if you want to risk it, you can, and against Mongol or Ottoman, right? Every other civ, you can immediately just abandon this. Look at this, I see deer and I immediately say, fudge this, and we go. So, why are you doing this? Why are you going for the deer? Well, number one, OTD villagers have, like HRE, carry capacity 40% increase, but they also have 25% faster gathering speed. So that means that even though deer are not going to be perfectly around your villagers or around your mill, having 40% extra capacity will allow you to get a lot of food income very, very quickly. And because they gather faster, it's kind of like having these 5-6 guys with a budget prelate buff, right? So why are you doing this? Well, with any castle rush civ, and if you do castle rushes, you know exactly what I mean. Whenever you do a castle rush, sometimes you run out of food. You get to castle and you run out of food. So the reason why you want to go for this close deer immediately if you find them is that you can gather as much food from here as possible so that you would have more food later under your town center when the opponent is pushing your base. So that's one very important thing to know. I like to get survival techniques because I usually get the boar and the second pack of deer eventually in the game. So I feel like if you're gonna get both packs and the boar, this is 100% worth to get immediately right now. If you only get 1 deer pack and that's it, you focus on more farm, I would say you can skip it. So, I send 6 villagers here. And I'm gonna try to kill deer whenever they're close like this. You want to kill the deer then. You don't want to kill the deer here or here. Maybe later you can push them in with your scout a little bit so they're closer. And there's not as much walking distance. Once we have 6 on the deer, we're going to get a house, get a mining camp, and slowly start the age-up process. And meanwhile, with our scout, we're getting all the sheep we can. Because that's what we need. And again, these sheep in the base are going to be used for later on. So I have 6 on deer, 3 on gold because I got survival techniques. And then we're going to rally onto the food here until we're able to age up, which is going to be in a little second here. In this game, we're playing against French, but the same thing applies whenever you're playing against any night civ. Now, I actually messed up here. You want to age up with 2 workers, okay? And then leave the 6 on deer, because you don't want to walk the workers back and forth, and you want to get as much food from here as possible before enemy arrives. So you're going to leave 2 on the chapel, and you're going to take one of these guys and put it on the wood, because you want to make sure you have a tower up when the knights arrive. Now, when to go chapel, when to go mine work, which one is better? In my opinion, chapel these days is more commonly used with OTD because the men-at-arms for OTD are really good and land shits, but at the same time, not really. And the reason for that is you have a lot better comps out there. Out of all OTD units, I would say men-at-arms in castle, if the enemy's castle do, is like the easiest to counter because they are beefy, they're expensive, but if the enemy just makes crossbows, you can't really do much with them. So mine work was mainly going for before for that men-at-arms buff that decreases damage taken under whatever % of health. And chapel has been buffed since to 15%. So it's not as bad as it used to be, right? So 2 on chapel and then rally onto wood because you want to make a tower ASAP. Now, if you're not going survival techniques, you only need 2 on gold, not 3. So you can see here, because I had another one on the chapel, I should have had 100 wood when he ages up. And then when the enemy ages up, you plop down a tower and you got enough time. You don't got to worry about it. You got to think about it. Now, what do you do from here on out? First things first, don't panic. I don't need to move these guys yet. Okay, the knight is just in production now, so I have another 30 seconds of gathering here. So we're gonna just sit right now. What is the knight civ opponent gonna do? They're either going to make just knights, they're either going to make knight archer, or they're going to try to tower rush your gold. Those are the 3 best options. They can also go for a 2 town center with like no units, but if they do that, you're gonna have a pretty good time then, because you're castle rushing and they're giving you castle rush for free. My scout is going across the map. You want to try to find out what the opponent is trying to do, what the opponent is going for, what the opponent is doing. I see a knight, and I can say, okay, I see that he's coming in a little bit. I'm making a tower right here. I'm moving away my villagers, and look at that. I have gathered a total of 4. This deer has 6 food. 4 full deer, which means that I've gathered 1.4k and this a little bit, let's say 100. I've gathered 1,500 food, which is equivalent to 6 sheep, which is very, very, very good. Because this allows me, look how many sheep I have left here, 12, because I didn't even get my starting ones, right? I didn't use those up yet. Once you age up, you're also going to take 3 workers to the stone, just to get enough stone to upgrade your tower. And my suggestion is to leave between 3 and 5 workers on wood. So I wasn't sure what he's doing here yet, so I left 5 in case I have to build a barracks or I have to build another tower or something else. But if you're feeling completely safe from this point on, you can just go food, gold, and you go for the age up. So one cool thing you can do with your scout, you can block the knight charges. So you're basically forcing him to commit all the way here, hit the charge, and then if you garrison, he's gonna take a lot of damage on his knight. So, I go across the map, I want to scout, right? I want to know what's happening, what is he doing? I'm getting wheelbarrow as well, so we're not doing a full greedy age up, we're getting an eco upgrade. And as I'm moving across the map, I saw another knight, and I see a villager. Now, if this villager finishes building a tower, then I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble because he's going to deny my gold and it's going to be annoying, right? So, because I have 5 on wood at this point, and now I know what's happening, what I can do is I can build barracks immediately in order to prevent this tower. Because I know that the villager is coming for tower. What else is he going to come for? So I build a tower with 4 workers, and I'm instantly going to build spearmen. So he's taking quite a bit of damage on these knights, which is very nice for me. He builds a tower, but look what I do here. While I'm waiting for my spearmen to arrive, I put 5 workers in the tower, and I'm just hitting his tower the whole time. Right? Because if he hits my scout, the tower hits his knights. Now the spearman is here. I just torch a little bit. I just defend. And eventually he'll have to cancel the tower. You can see it's nearly dead. He pushes in. He loses the scout. Second spearman is out. I'm getting the upgrade for the spearman. So now they're feudal spearmen. And he has to run home. Now, this was pretty much went as perfect as it could. What do I do now? Do I commit to stables? Do I commit to more units? Now, I've done my job. Look at my age up right here. I've made a tower. I've got 2 spearmen, which is obviously 4 normal spearmen. So it's quite a bit to defend. My gold is safe. I have a lot of food. And now it's time to go for the age up. And I even pulled 2 from wood because I don't need that many right now. And I'm gonna go scout what is he following this up with. So I see stone is mined. Okay, second TC. I see archer range. And I know exactly what he's doing and what he's going for. So, what is the best transition when you go into castle as OTD? That is heavily dependent on what your opponent is doing, okay? If my opponent is going for triple stable right now, I'm gonna add another barracks, right? And just make spearmen. If my opponent is going for archers, like he is, I'm going to add stables and I'm going to go for knights. So I'm going to go knight spearmen or man-at-arms spearmen, doesn't matter. If my opponent is having a barracks, let's say 2 barracks, 2 stables, I'm probably just going to continue making my spearmen because my spearmen are going to be castle spearmen versus his feudal spearmen. Or you can go spearmen crossbow. So it's very dependent what the opponent is going for, what you're going to respond with in the moment, because your goal right now is to kill his units that he has and take the relics. So he will be the one dictating what unit comp he has, and you're going to respond to his unit comp so you can get the relics. Now at the high level OTD, most of the time, like 90-95% of the time, you want to aim for knights. Why do you want to aim for knights? Because not only knights will kill everything with, like OTD will kill, knights will kill everything with proper micro, but you can also harass the opponent, which is very important. And because they have the largest health pool of any unit right now in the castle, you can micro them, and if you micro them well, you can always save your knights and take them back and heal them up. So, as we're aging up, I'm getting specialized mining pick. The wheelbarrow is obviously completed. I don't have horticulture yet. And right now, the moment I age up, I'm just gonna go for a knight. I'm going for +1 ranged armor because I saw archers, right? So again, just try to scout, see what the opponent is doing, and then just react to it. First prelate is out. I have 2 spearmen from earlier, so I'm just gonna escort this first one. I'm not gonna be greedy to try to go for like his relic or something. I'm just gonna mow down one by one. I take that. I'm going for the middle one now. I was going to harass with my gilded knight, but I see the archers here, so I decided to go for that. That's an easy cleanup, little donation to me. I take the second relic, which is very nice. I killed a knight here that was trying to prevent a relic taken. So already, very good start. Like this is a position where if you manage to get yourself here, you should win games 90% of the time, right? Unless you make some severe mistake. This is already a 1 game. Because I have 2 relics, I'm going to get 3, 4. There's nothing preventing me from taking all the relics at this point. Because he's trying to like age up while making some units to deny the relic gathering, which is not really going well. I know his second TC is here, so I'm just going in to harass. I have +1 ranged armor. And look, 1 knight, tower, TC, I'm just going under. The knight is hitting me. It's fine because you're causing a lot of idle time, and he's not sending units to deny relics. Now here, I done goofed. My spearmen were on the way, but a little bit too late, so I end up losing the prelate. Knights are coming again, and I'm just trying to do damage wherever I can, right? You can also fight his knights, how much damage my knights do. And when my knight is low HP, you just kite him back. Just go back to your base so you can heal up and make sure you don't, lose any knights. They're very expensive, so you want to make sure you do not lose them. Now, as I'm getting all the relics, you have two choices. You can either go out or back on this deer, and then this deer pack, and maybe send 5 villagers here with a tower to get the boar. But I usually try not to do it against night civs because you can go south very fast. So if I wanted to get these deer, I would need to either wall here, and then wall here, and then wall here, which is going to be about 200 wood. Or I can make a tower and 5 villagers, which is a tower is 100 wood, mill is 50 wood. And it's like, do you want your villagers exposed if you're ahead, or do you want to just start adding farms? So that's up to you. Again, against night civs, it can be risky because you can lose a lot of villagers very quickly. But if you're playing against like a boom civ or, passive civ, I would say definitely go for the deer. From here on out, what you want to do is you have two options. You can either quit making units and you can go Imperial with Palace of Swabia and print workers, or you can just continue making units like I am. I have one production building here, one production building here, and I'm just producing Spearman Knight, and I'm just going for it. So the workers are gonna start. He's gonna start having some losses there. He's aging up with the guild hall. He's got some barracks with the spearmen, but 4 gilded knights are obviously very, very strong. So you can just go in, fight there, and you can move your low HP knights back home. Just click them and then shift click them back home, while the other knights are just doing emotional damage. You can see even against the spearmen, you can just fight them. Just be careful not to lose them. And now there's just units everywhere coming in. Meanwhile, I'm getting the relics. I'm going to use back berries. And at this point, you can also rally on woodline. And whenever you have extra wood, you can just add a couple of farms. So you can see the army. It ain't looking good for my guy over here with the interesting name. And another question that I get often is, do you get inspired warriors or not? So I always try to continuously make prelates with OTD until about 10 to 15 prelates. If your prelates are alive and if your army is still looking good, it's a good idea to get inspired warriors. But if you have like 2 prelates and 5 units left because you were fighting, like, don't get inspired warriors. It's not worth it at that point, because you don't have enough units or prelates to make it worth. But at this point, for me, I could have gotten them, right? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But the game is kind of over already, so it doesn't really matter. So he taps out. Now we're gonna go game number 2, where I'm gonna show you against English, and then we're gonna go game number 3, showing against Ayubit. Shout out to Gully for helping me do the last 2 games. So against English is one of those games where you want to start with 3 farms IMO. Why? Because you will definitely run out of food at a point, and English will not let you go on the berries, or not even let you chop wood later on, or go out on the map. So you want to get as much food as possible from those berries. So look at this. 5 workers on wood. We're going to chop that down. The next worker that comes out, we're going to make a farm. That's a worker number 6. Worker number 7 comes out. We make another farm. And once the tree is chopped, we're going to make the 3rd farm. So we have 6 on food right now, and one of the workers is going to go build a mining camp, and we're going to start mining that, build a little house. Now, in this matchup, I decided to try Chapel. In this matchup, I would strongly advise you to go for mine work. This is one of the matchups where I would say 80% of the time, probably mine work is just better, okay? I tried Chapel here. I did not like it. And I'll explain why. Games against English are never really clean games. They're never really like, okay, I make this, I make that, and then boom, and I push and I'm done. It's always messy, because sometimes the opponent will play very passive. Sometimes they're going to YOLO in here and kill your workers on their TC. Sometimes they're gonna like ram here, sometimes ram there. So there's a lot of moving workers from your side. There's a lot of aggression and so on. So again, I tried Chapel here. Unless you're extremely experienced, I advise against it. Now, if I went mine work, right? I would not put my farms in the front. If I went mine work, I would put my farms like here, here, and here. Why? Because my opponent is going to be pushing my gold, so I don't want farms to be in the same spot as my wood line and as my gold. So I want to keep them in the back safe. But this game, I did something that you should not try at home, which is forward chapel, because it just complicates things quite a bit. So I'm going 2 on the chapel, 2 on the gold, which is normally what you do. And the reason I didn't go for deer is because I'm playing against English. And again, some English players open with men-at-arms, some don't. If whatever league you're playing in, English never open men-at-arm, then just go for deer anyway. And whenever longbow is out, you can just go back. But I didn't want to risk it. So now I'm chopping some wood, as you can see. Why am I chopping wood? Because I want to go for double tower. Now, a lot of these matchups where the opponents are ultra aggressive, so people ask me to make a guide against Delhi, or how to play a castle rush against Delhi, and how to play a castle rush against English. The realistic answer is, against English, you can do this, right? Where you go no units into castle. Against Delhi, you cannot. You need to fight in feudal, and that's it, and get a very late castle, like 15 minutes. If you want to know what the best strategy against English is probably to just fight in feudal. Go horseman archer and just fight in feudal. And the reason for that is you are very map dependent against English. Like where your gold is, where your wood line is, how many sheep you find. If you find like 4 sheep against English and they're doing the longbow spearman rush, you're gonna run out of food and you're just gonna die straight up, right? So that's something you have to consider, and I think this is kind of English specific. So my advice is to learn how to fight in feudal against English with OTD, which is very possible and viable with mine work. But if you want a castle rush, this is how you do it. So we're gonna build 2 towers, and we're gonna send 6 workers to stone because we want to make sure to get arrow slit upgrades. Now, there is no real point upgrading 45 outposts as well, because you would need another 150 stone, which is a lot of mining. Then you're going to need to build a mining camp here, and you're just delaying everything a little bit too much. So, I'm going back. Towers are getting upgraded. I'm mining the gold. The longbows are coming. And now this is the gold is safe, and you can see this tower kind of covers the wood line a little bit, so I can chop wood later on. You can see I'm slowly going through the age up, and what is most likely to happen, the English player will go for ram immediately and try to destroy your towers. Now this is the part where ramming against OTD can work, but it can, it's a lot harder to pull off. And usually the opponent will need 2 rams to make this very viable. But if they have 2 rams this early, that means they won't have any units. So, or they're going to have less units at least. So, what I'm doing right now is I'm pulling a couple of more workers on gold, because I am playing with understanding that my gold will be denied, right? Maybe not in a minute, but in 2-3 minutes it's gone because there's rams coming. So what I want to do is gather as much gold as I can. Obviously, you don't want to pull all the workers and do that. You want to still get wood so you can build a barracks or archer range or stables. But I'm trying to get as much gold before I got a bail. So what do you go against English? What unit do you go when you age up? If the English is going pure longbow, just go knights. That's it. If you don't see any spearmen, just go knights and just mow the longbows down. But because I saw that my opponent had a barracks and I saw spearmen already, if I go into a knight, he's going to have 4 or 5 spearmen already, which is not going to be good for me. Then he's going to add another barracks, and knights are extremely expensive. I won't be able to continue production of knights, and I'm probably going to die. So, because of that, I decided to go for men-at-arms. Now, there's a world where you can also go archers and upgrade them, but they're going to require a few upgrades to make them really, really good. So, Now what I'm gonna do is how you defend against any kind of super early ram. So watch this. You garrison your villagers, and then I'm gonna plop them out on this side to attack the ram, and then you garrison back in. I'm getting blacksmith. Okay, so one thing to note. If I went mine work, I wouldn't need to get blacksmith, which is why I prefer mine work in this matchup. Sometimes it's very hard to chop wood because the opponent might have longbows. So in your mine work, you would get iron undermash, and the moment you age up, you want to get the second level of plus ranged armor because longbows have an extra damage compared to normal archers. So look at this. Emergency repair, you want to activate it as late as possible so you get more value out of it. And now we're going to do that little dance where I torch the ram, and then if he comes to attack, I go back inside. Boom. Activate emergency repair here, so he just went on the other tower. And the ram gets torched. So now this is just buying time. I have some idle time, but I'm waiting for my upgrades to kick in. And I'm waiting for my barracks to finish. So in this specific matchup, I just go for men-at-arms, which, again, with mine work, will work really, really well with that upgrade that makes them take reduced damage when they're under X amount of health. In the long run, right? So, we're gathering sheep. I'm almost out. Now, if I didn't have these 3 farms, by the way, I would have been out of sheep a lot sooner. So have that in mind. Now he's gonna go for 2 rams. My men-at-arms production has started. I upgraded him already. Now I'm gonna go in the back berries. And whether you go for berries near your base is map dependent. Sometimes, if my opponent loses a scout or something, what I'll do is I'll just go on the board here with 5 villagers and build a tower. Because if he wants to take that down, then he needs to send a ram or units there. He's splitting up his army, and then I can kind of kill it a lot easier. So, I'm gonna show you this part. I activate emergency repair, and I'm just trying to do as much damage to his army with the tower. I know I can't hold this. I'm just holding here. I killed a scout, I killed a spearman, I killed a longbow, another spearman, and all I did was have some idle time on my villagers, and I took some damage on my gilded men-at-arms. Now, try to take relics wherever you can. So I snuck out a prelate here. I snuck out a prelate here because I saw he has army on this relic. And I'm just trying to get some passive gold income. So right here, we got some prelates healing the wounded men-at-arms. Plus 2 ranged armor is completing. And now, all you gotta do is just, if you're not taking direct damage, just chill. So this, nothing is happening, right? He is just hitting my chapel. I have emergency repair, and I can just emergency repair whenever I need it, right? So I'm not under any instant pressure. I can just chill right here. He kills this prelate. I emergency repair, and now 4 men-at-arms. This looks scary, by the way, this interaction right here, but look at the damage that the men-at-arms are taking. It's not a lot. So at this point, I should not be able to die. If I have reached this point, I should not be able to die to this all in. The longbows are doing so little damage that I can just micro the low HP men-at-arms back, and I can just heal them up. I'm making more barracks. You can also, if you don't have any gold that's nearby or something, like I had one here, but let's say I didn't, let's say all my golds were forward, what you can do is make a market, and you can sell wood. You can even mine stone and then sell stone, get gold, so you can continue men-at-arms production. So right now you can see I'm just microing the weakened men-at-arms back. Look, that one gets a bit low, I just run back. And he is losing longbows, and from this point on, map control is mine. So again, I pose the question, what do you do? So in this situation, what I did is I kept making men-at-arms so I can get all 5 relics, because I know that he's, went very aggressive and he's not probably close to aging up. So I could have probably just pushed and tried to end the game, but I decided to go back, torch this, and play it a little bit safe. And I do get all the relics. I'm getting another monastery. I'm getting berries in the back. I'm gonna go for this here. And I'm just gonna play it on ×8 so you can see how this game develops. I do a little push here. He had a white tower. Now, if he didn't have a white tower, I would just fully commit and go for it because I had a lot of men-at-arms. But because he had a white tower and not King's Palace landmark, I'm like, okay, he's on 1 TC. I have a chapel that boosts my economy. I have relics. I have the map control. I'm going to take the sacred sites. And I can go Imperial if I want to soon. So even though I can't kill him now, he is not really getting even or ahead economically. He's just falling further and further behind. So as long as I don't take damage, I'm good. Another thing you can do to prevent opponents from killing you is get towers and get some stone and upgrade Springle towers and put relics in them. That will make them insanely good, and it's going to be extremely hard for your opponent to take that down, because even if they have a ram, you can just charge in with all these men-at-arms and one-shot the ram basically. So we're getting Springle displacements on both, putting the relics inside. I'm going to get another tower here and another tower on the bottom. Palace of Slavia is coming up, and from here now the unit comp that you want to go for. So he's producing mass crossbows, right? So what I want to go is either horsemen, or you can go hand cannoneers from here. I would probably not say go archers, because you know you can go for more higher tech units. You can even go your own crossbows, because OTD crossbows are very strong. But in general, I am extremely far ahead here. If we look at the resources per minute, 1.5, 2.1, and then like 3.5k resources per minute, right? He's got 2k. So, and I have Palace of Slavia that's pumping out units and 5 relics. I got tithe farms as well, so my economy is just giga booming. And again, right now I don't need to do anything. I'm getting further and further ahead. If he wants to push, he can. I have a bombard tower here that's going to take care of these units. I can push with men-at-arms. I'm transitioning to horsemen here, transitioning to more farms. And even if he kills all these units, my economy is way stronger than his. So I'll be able to replenish my units where he will not be able to. So you can see right here, I'm fighting, but he's losing most of his units. And now, if you look, we were even army count. And now, as we progress, I have more and more towers. Now I have a tower here, a tower here, and a tower here. And I'm getting bombarding placements in all 3, so I can start the sacred site timer. The worker count, I'm ahead, and I have OTD villagers. If you look at the upgrades, I have way better upgrades than he does. So he's just in a completely all-in position at this point. Elite Gilded Horsemen, Elite Gilded Men-at-Arms, and he taps out. That is as far as English goes. My suggestion, like I said, is go mine work. Can't you go siege? Well, I don't need it. If I go siege, then I have no farms. If I have no farms, then I don't have food, and then I can't produce men-at-arms. And then I have a mangonel and 5 men-at-arms. I would rather have 20 men-at-arms and growing economy than a mangonel or 2. And then another game that Gully helped me play, which is Ayubid, one of the best castle rushing civilizations. And I just wanted to show you how to castle rush, beat the opponent's civ in castle rushing, but also get map control. So, one thing you'll notice, why am I not starting on wood? Because when you play against another castle rush civ, it's not about food efficiency and to get the best food income over time. It's how to get the best food income right now so you can get to castle as fast as possible, because you're going to be fighting over relics. So that's why I'm going on sheep. I see deer, I immediately go for deer. Once again, even though I was on sheep, I had a sheep start, I just go on deer immediately, and we're gonna go with that. I kill them all around my mill. I get survival techniques. And now we're getting the rest of the sheep on the map as usual. We're gonna go for that age up. Now, you might think, isn't this risky because he's gonna go military wing and he's gonna chase you away? it's not really risky. What I could have done is I could have stayed on sheep, pushed back the desert raider, and then gone on deer. You can also do that if you want to. That's fine too. But we're gonna go mine work. The reason I went mine work here, by the way, in this matchup, I would advise chapel, but I went mine work because there was no good chapel at all on this map. The best one I could have done is a chapel here, but then this is the further wood line, so it's kind of exposed. Another place I could have gone is like chapel here, but then it's a forward chapel. So usually I do a chapel in this matchup, but I just really dislike any chapel placement, so I just went mine work. So what am I doing here? I want to age up, and as I age up, I want to build stables immediately because there's a military wing coming, there's a desert raider coming. I'm going to build a horseman because horseman beats a desert raider. So he comes here, I pull the guys back on sheep, I pull the guys back over gold for a bit, and the gilded horseman is out, and now I can just kill the desert raider. And now the map control is mine. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to just push across the map and try to harass his berries or his gold or whatever else. So if he didn't have a tower on gold, I can just deny that and delay his age up by quite a bit. But in this matchup, now because I have the map control, I don't need to make a tower super fast. I will make one, but it's going to be a little bit delayed because I have enough units to kill the desert raider if it comes. So the moment I saw a tower on the gold, I went for +1 ranged armor because I wanted to poke the gold a little bit and cause some idle time for him. So you can see he's got no gold. So now you usually get some upgrades with Ayubid, but because I'm poking the gold and denying the gold, he can't really do that. So that's something you can do and make the use out of the units you already have. So you can see that only 170 gold, no eco upgrades whatsoever. Look at that. And all I did is I invested into one upgrade, +1 range armor, which I would invest at some point anyway. More idle time, and now he can make only one Camel Lancer. In a second he's going to be able to make 2, but the point is the gold income has been denied, right? Now the prelate and the knight production starts. Now you might be wondering, why am I making knights? Well, I made a horseman to defend the desert raiders, so I don't really want to add another production building now. Plus, even though desert raiders and camel lancers counter knights or cavalry in general, because gilded knights have so much HP, you can actually fight the camel lancers and they have so much damage that 20% damage decrease is not that bad. So you're going to use your knights to get the relics, just like in any other matchup. And we're going to start fighting over the relics. I took a relic on the left that he didn't even see. I took a relic on the right. So 2 relics in a matchup where it's Castle Rush versus Castle Rush. This is good for me. 2 relics is plenty. If you get 2, be happy. Okay? If I get 3, that's even better. So we're fighting here. I'm doing some damage to his units. He's doing some damage to my units. I forget my prelate. But all these units that are damaged, the camel lancers, probably not going to get healed up, but I am going to heal up mine immediately because I'm going to make more and more prelates over time. So he yoinks this relic, and I think I managed to get this one over here. Now, because I have deer here that I haven't gathered, and I have berries in the back, and I have woodland in the back, and I have gold in the back, what I decide to do is make a tower right here on the middle, right? And I'm going to upgrade it and put relic inside. I have a tower here on my gold, and I'm going to put a relic inside and upgrade it. And I'm going to make another tower here later on. And you will see how good these towers are and how good these towers can be to defend yourself. So, right now, he cannot push here unless he wants to lose all the units. Because the Springall towers will absolutely destroy all the units. Plus, I have gilded knights and prelates to heal up. So he has to run away. Meanwhile, I'm doing a little bit of harassment because I have gilded knights, I have ranged armor, so I might as well. And you can see he's starting to take some villager losses as well. He decides to go for an engagement here, but again, this looks really bad for me because the enemy has more units, but this fight is more even than you think, or even favored for me. So I try to move away the low HP units. This one I think I mess up and it dies. Yep. Should have moved a bit sooner. So I lost one knight and he's lost few camel lancers there, and these guys are completely damaged, right? So this was not worth it for him at all. I'm gonna heal up my units, and again, it looks very, very scary, but there's no point for him to actually attack and do some major damage unless he wants to fight into the towers. Now, if he just made rams, I can just charge in, and I can, what's it called? I can just run around and the towers will do a lot of the work there. So, because he is just making Desert Raiders and Camel Lancers, I don't want to make Knights forever. I made a couple. I got 3 relics, which is amazing. I got towers. I'm going to start making a farm here and there. I want to transition to Spearman Crossbow to make sure I have a full counter for what he is doing. And like I said, I don't want to stay on pure Knights forever. So I got deer here. I'm getting berries in the back. And I have a lot of prelates healing to sustain my knights. So again, I have another tower here. Look at the range of that. I love that. And I'm getting 45 outposts too. And now I just need to get my economy sorted. So I have 3 relics, which is plenty of gold. I'm going to use that gold to get eco upgrades, to get military upgrades, and to get crossbows, and spearmen obviously don't cost gold. So my gold needs right now are not that much. So I have 2 barracks happening, 2 archer ranges, and now we just chill. Because I can see right here, I can see him, right? I have the vision, and I see he's just waiting for to do the big push. I think I see that he's making a mangonel, sorry, and soon he's gonna make a ram too. Now look at this. You might be like, what are you gonna do against the mangonel? Well, you press this outpost, and then you press on a mangonel. Look at that. Where are you going? No, no, no. Not today. So, what does he do? He makes a ram. He makes 2 rams. That shit is broken? Yeah, OTD is broken. Kick. So I see his whole army is here. So I just decided to get some berries on this side. Could have also made a tower and gotten a sprinkled upgrade because I have enough. But I can see he's going for a push and I'm just waiting for him. I decide to decap the sacred sites and look at my army. 9 crossbows, right? 7 spearmen. I'm doing a little run by with these knights because I feel like I have enough to hold. So what do? I focus fire the mangonel. And look at that army. I have emergency repairs. This tower has a lot of health. And now when I go for the engagement, this army looks scarier, but if you look, I actually have more army than he does. That's why sometimes fighting with OTD is very tricky, because you think, oh, I look like I have less, but you actually have more and you have better army. So he's pushing in here. I haven't even activated emergency repairs, by the way, yet. So this tower ain't going anywhere. This tower is also shooting sometimes. All the way there when the units get in range, but I managed to clean this up, and from here on out the game is over. Why is the game over? Because he committed to a very big push with a lot of units and he didn't get anything. So right now I have 8 workers killed, 9,000 worth of resource killed. I have 3 relics. I'm about to get deer plus boar. I'm gonna make 3 towers there, upgrade them as well. And I'm gonna just push this side. Meanwhile, look at this. Because I'm pushing this side, he is distracted, so he's gonna get a lot of villagers lost. Behind this, I'm making farms. Where am I making farms? Around the towers that he already knows are pretty nasty. So I'm gonna just base my food economy here. And if you look, all my workers are on food plus wood, nothing on gold because of the 3 relics doing work. The knights are still doing harassment in his base. And now, because I feel pretty safe, look at that, prelates are gonna heal all the units up, which is very nice. We go for more farms, and I'm gonna age up in a little bit because I have a crap ton of workers. 48 workers on food, which is, again, it's kind of like a under budget chapel. We're gonna get Palace of Swabia, and the moment I age up, I'm gonna go for the elite crossbows because most of my army is crossbows. So we're gonna get that instantly. Crossbows with OTD are very, very, very good units. He tries to push in here, but he has no rams or horsemen, so that ain't gonna work. He decides to make a ram. And obviously, again, I see that, so I just decide to fight him. My elite crossbows are almost done. My economy is popping off. I'm getting more gold. And he taps out. There it is. That is how you do OOT to the D Castle Rush. The easiest time you can have playing OTD is if the opponent just doesn't try to stop your gold or doesn't try to stop you from getting relics. But that's it. That's kind of it. Now, some civilizations, people ask me, how do you play against Delhi? With Delhi, you have to fight in feudal. So I didn't feel the need to put it into this guide, because then if I show you how to fight against Delhi, which is one of the rougher matchups, I'm not rushing castles, so it's not a castle rush guide anymore. And also, one of the harder matchups is also Malian, because their units dent your units quite a bit. I would say against Malians, if you can, going like Landships, men-at-arms, and archers is probably the best thing you can go for, because Landships are very, very good against Malian. And going for mine work is probably the best in that matchup. That is it. If you're watching on YouTube, I want to thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the guide. I hope I helped you. I hope you learned something new. Check me out on Twitch. I'm probably live right now. Twitch gamers. Let's keep going.